House official engagements begin as President Tinubu holds bilateral talks with President Macron. House of Representatives confirms appointment of Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede as Chief of Army Staff. And Comrade Alhassan Yahya emerges new president of Nigeria Union of Journalists. And welcome to the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. We're live in Abuja. I am Dennis Adegunloye. The first day of President Bola Tinubu's three-day visit to France has begun with a bilateral meeting at the Elysee Palace. The president is accompanied by First Lady Oluremi Tinubu. Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, says that the visit aims to enhance bilateral ties, focusing on key areas such as agriculture, security, education, health, youth engagements, innovation, and energy transition. Brigitte Macron and Nigeria's First Lady will discuss empowering women, children, and vulnerable groups through the First Lady's renewed Hope Initiative. The House of Representatives has confirmed the appointment of Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede as Chief of Army Staff. Meanwhile, the Senate has received a request from President Bola Tinubu to confirm 4 members of the Police Service Commission, and the Senate also passed four tax reform bills for second reading. Elsewhere, tragedy struck the premises of Radio Nigeria early this morning when an inferno razed sections of its Lagos office, although firefighters successfully prevented the spread of the inferno. Director, Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Margaret Adesheye, had earlier reassured the public that the situation was under control, with the combined efforts of the state and federal fire services, including other emergency responders, and the Nigerian police. The firefighters were able to confine the inferno to the studio section of the U-shaped one-story building from where the fire emanated. There are no reported casualties, and the cause of the fire is as yet unknown. Former Deputy National President of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Comrade Alhassan Yahya, has emerged the new president of the union after a keenly contested election at the 8th Triennial National Delegates Conference of the NUJ held in Owerri, Imo State. Beatrice Anyam reports.
The immediate past Deputy National President of NUJ, Comrade Alhassan Yahya, emerged winner of the keenly contested election with 336 votes to defeat his closest rival, Dele Atumbi, who polled 97 votes, while Garba Muhammad polled 39 votes. Other members of the new executive were all returned unopposed.
Provide all the requirements according to the Constitution of Nigerian Union of Journalists. Is hereby returned elected as the president of NUJ.
In this election, no victor, no vanquish. We are going to open doors for those that we participate in this election. And I want to assure you, we want to prioritize issues around insurance for journalists in Nigeria.
The outgoing president of the union, Conrad Chris Isuguzo, tasked the new executive on sacrificial leadership.
Every other person must close ranks with the new leader.
Speaking earlier on the theme of the conference, Media and Democracy, the journalist's role in holding leaders accountable, the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma and the Minister of Information and National Orientation, who was represented, as well as the guest speaker, enjoined journalists to prioritize public interest and objectivity in their reportage.
Combat the spread of disinformation and ensure that all journalists are equipped with the skills and knowledge.
They should also show interest in how to make leaders espouse the right values in their behavior and utterances.
The event featured a award of fellows of NUJ to former national presidents of the union. In Owerri, Beatrice Anyam, NTA News.
The National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, through its Computer Emergency Readiness Response Team, has warned of cyber criminals exploiting the popular music streaming platform Spotify to promote game hacks, pirated software and spam links, exposing users to potential cyber threats such as phishing attacks and malware that compromise devices, resulting in the loss of personal and financial data. Harmful promotions embedded in playlist titles and podcast descriptions boost visibility of malicious websites through Spotify's web player search results. To avoid these risks, internet users are urged to avoid interacting with playlists or podcasts with suspicious text or links in descriptions. Refrain from clicking on unknown or unverified links. Ensure use of updated Spotify app. And in addition, a new ransomware codenamed Waimea has been identified as targeting corporate networks, making it difficult for traditional antivirus programs to detect and block. Cybercriminals demand ransoms in cryptocurrency to restore compromised systems. To mitigate the risks, organizations are advised to deploy advanced endpoint detection and response solutions, regularly update all systems, softwares, and establish a robust data backup strategy. In other news, agencies under the Ministry of Works will be given adequate attention in order to contribute meaningfully to the Renewed Hope agenda. This was the submission of the Minister of State Works, Mohammed Bello Gronyo, during a supervisory visit to the office of the Surveyor General of the Federation in Abuja. Abdullahi Mohammed reports.
It's an office with more than 17 technical departments carrying out key functions despite meager resources.
Some of the equipment you saw when we were in the Center for Control and Analysis, they are new equipment. But what we are saying is that they are not adequate.
A new dawn, a new sheriff, an attentive listener in the boardroom, and one that works through checklist takes charge.
As part of the Renewed Hope agenda of our dear President Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we'll look at all these issues.
Appreciating the pivotal role of the office towards the age of Nigeria and leaving behind encouraging words.
A lot of MDAs are keen into their activities in the Ministry of Works, in agriculture, in water resources, and name it. So we believe this is one agency that is critical to national development.
This supervisory visit is part of measures taken by the Renewed Hope movement to speed up the contribution of agencies to national development. Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
The annual symposium of heads of navies has been held in Abuja to discuss key issues in the maritime domain. Declaring the symposium open, President Bola Tinubu, in a message delivered by the National Security Advisor, pledged continuous support for the Nigerian Navy's operations and objectives to enhance security in the Gulf of Guinea, which drives the economies of more than 25 African countries. Defense correspondent Najatu Tijani reports.
Oceans apart, but uniting on Nigerian soil for a common goal, sharing best practices and coordinating efforts to create a safer maritime environment.
We believe that these discussions will take us another step forward in the achievement of our common objective of a peaceful, secure maritime environment, not only for the Gulf of Guinea, but globally. To read what Mr. President said I should.
Commending the Nigerian Navy for its role in increasing crude oil production in the Niger Delta and the Gulf of Guinea, President Tinubu makes a commitment for Nigeria to work more closely with other nations.
Through shared responsibilities and concerted efforts, we can effectively combat illegal activities at sea and unlock the immense economic opportunities our oceans and waterways offer.
France is playing a big role in supporting the symposium, which has been running for 8 years.
To have strong partners in the Gulf of Guinea is the best way to address all the challenges we have here. Illegal fishing, drug trafficking, piracy, bunkering, everything.
Naval chiefs at the symposium are also expected to enhance their collective ability to respond to maritime security challenges. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
As this year's National Agric Show continues, the National Agricultural Foundation has again engaged youths and women in agriculture with a view to creating opportunities for business networking and innovative access to markets. Tokwe Alabi reports that this year's seminar provides a unique platform for stakeholders to brainstorm on practical approaches for strengthening the capacity of young people and women as critical actors in the promotion of food security in Nigeria.
Is to ensure to see how these small rural smallholder farmers can be able to be supported with either loans or grants where they can be trained on how to write good proposals.
The agri sector can employ millions of Nigerian youth if only our state government can work together with the federal and all of us as stakeholders to begin to identify the various core needs and aspirations of young people, the women and the PWDs.
It's very engaging because this is the first time to be here. So I learned many challenges that some of the farmers are been having outside, like in the North Central.
I have learned that as a woman, as a youth, we should have an idea. You should be creative.
Let's go back to our top story on Mr. President's three-day visit to France, and the activities have begun as the French President Emmanuel Macron has hosted and greeted his counterpart at the historic Les Invalides Memorial Complex. The two national anthems rang out in the courtyard of one of Paris' landmarks, kicking off a visit focused on encouraging economic partnerships between France and Africa's most populous country. Both Macron and President Tinubu are set to meet at the Franco-Nigerian Business Council, a forum designed to develop new partnerships between the economic players in both countries. He and Macron will also address shared values concerning finance, solid minerals, trade and investment, and communication. Nigeria is looking to build ties in agriculture, security, education, health, youth engagement, innovation, and energy transition. This is the news at 3 on NTA News 24. More reports ahead, including experts optimistic the resurrection of refineries in Nigeria will increase the energy sector. Stay with us.
Glory be to God. The child is born. FRCN NTA Vaughan service of 9 lessons and carols is here. Come celebrate with us. It promises to be spiritually fulfilling with different shades of Christmas melodies, soloists, choral groups, and Santa Claus. Message giver, Reverend Dr. Israel Adelani Akonji, President, Nigerian Baptist Convention. Join dignitaries from all walks of life, including political, religious, and traditional leaders, in an ultimate worship of the newborn King. Date, 1st December 2024. Time, 3 p.m. Venue, the National Christian Center, Central Business District, Abuja. Be our guest. Supported by the Imo State Government.
Welcome back. The House of Representatives has passed the 2025 to 2027 medium-term expenditure framework. The new projections form part of my discussion with an economic and development expert, Obonna Okuku, who joined us earlier today on the News at 10.
So those things don't come, from the air. They come from statistics, data is given to you. So when those data is submitted. So that's what the managers of the economy will now look at and then project based on that. So it's that projection which has been submitted. Of course, this is it's just like every transaction. You give targets to people who work for you. You make sure that they deliver. There are deliverables, and then you give them deliverables, and then they must deliver based on the projections that they have given to you, which you have in turn pushed as part of the framework. Fiscal managers are going, yes, they need to do a whole lot more, because the investment in infrastructure that will support and propel our productive sector, which has to do with agriculture, those level of investment that is going in there, of course, will help. Of course, we're looking at foreign direct investment, which we are projecting that will be a lot higher from the coming years. Now, the reality is, I wouldn't say it performed very well, because there were a lot of indices, there were a lot of factors, global factors, because the entire globe, had the issue of the inflation was global, and then the oil prices, that went up, affected, the energy shock that came in, that affected transportation and all of that. So it affected productivity generally. But here a lot has happened to us when it comes to security, when it comes to the energy management. So there's been a whole lot, and then the introduction of the new, when I say new hope agenda, is the direction, being able to say, okay, this is what we are worth. So can we build from what we are worth? So that instead of the bubble kind of economy we've been running before, trying to subsidize everything. Yes, it's very painful, it's very hard, but the truth is, if you build from here, you will build well, and whatever you build here stands from now.
Definitely. Ogbon now, Kuku, economic and development expert, speaking earlier on MTEF. Now, Nigerians will smile again, as a resuscitation of the Port Harcourt refinery in Nigeria holds significant potential for the country's economy, energy sector, and overall national developments that will eliminate any form of monopoly and ultimately ensure availability of cheaper petroleum products across Nigeria. Thomas Ogbetere reports that these were the views of experts on Good Morning Nigeria.
The resuscitation of the Port Harcourt refinery, according to guests on Good Morning Nigeria, is a strategic national priority for Nigeria. The benefits are multifaceted, impacting everything from job creation and economic growth to energy security and environmental sustainability.
The prices of petroleum products is going to go down if these two big wigs that are in the oil and gas industry, continue to produce petroleum products and also continue to distribute.
The most critical for us as retail outlet owners is availability of product, of all types of petroleum products, and what we can buy them for. Because ultimately, the pricing of what we buy will be reflected at the pump price.
So we must make sure we understand that a provision needs to be made for rehabilitating the infrastructure. So before we're talking about price stability or prices going down, etc., the infrastructure that enables the free flow of those petroleum products, we need to look at it.
Guests who also commended a call by President Bola Tinubu for the resuscitation of the Warri and Kaduna refineries also noted that with the revitalization of the other two, Nigeria stands to solidify its position as a leading oil producer, boost economic diversification, and ensure greater energy self-sufficiency, while also positioning itself as an emerging player in the global energy market. In Abuja, Thomas Ogbetere, NTA News.
Watching the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24, here's a look at our major stories. Official engagements begin as President Tinubu holds bilateral talks with President Macron. House of Representatives confirms appointment of Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede as Chief of Army Staff. And Comrade Al-Hassan Yahya emerges new president of Nigeria Union of Journalists.
This is NTA News 24.
The Federal Road Safety Corps says it will henceforth prosecute any driver and fleet operator that is involved in a fatal road crash. Corps Marshal FRIC Shehu Mohammed declared this at the 2024 Annual Safety Managers Retreat for Fleet Operators in Abuja. Oyeyemi Ajayi has details.
Over time, it has been reported that road traffic crashes involving fleet operators or caused by them are on the high side, especially with the high level of death and degrees of injuries usually involved. Now, to set the record straight, the Federal Road Safety Corps says no stone will be left unturned in reducing this menace in line with the 5% yearly reduction of road crashes in the country. Taking the bull by the horn, headlong, the Corps Marshal Shehu Mohammed hinted the Corps is embarking on style operations against recklessness of these fleet operators and drivers, which include prosecution of drivers who engage in fatal road traffic crashes, hence that the only way out is safety to and from their destinations.
The problem of the environment are the drivers who want to rush it quickly and make double money.
Whatever we are going to do here or is going to be discussed here is going to be of benefit not only to the road users but for everybody in the country.
So what we intend to do is to completely seize their license for some years, so that if they correct and get back to the discipline type that we require, then we can let them have their license back again.
The stakeholders, however, commended the Federal Road Safety Corps for its efforts in ridding the roads of crashes, while reiterating commitments towards ensuring better and safe movement on the highways, especially during the Ember months. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Experts from the ECOWAS countries have converged on Abuja to review child labour activities and foster regional collaboration to end all forms of child labour. Joseph Otsen reports that the Minister of State, Labour and Employment, Nkiruka Onyejocha, presented Nigeria's position on developments of a standard template and methodology for tracking child and forced labour interventions, among other priorities.
Despite various interventions to end child labour, the ugly trend continues to increase.
West and Central Africa accounts for a significant number of these children, with an estimated average of 30% of children, 31% male and 30% female, in child labor, putting in an average of 18 working hours per week.
Some of the worst forms of child labor, such as forced labor, modern slavery, human trafficking and use of children as child soldiers, are still very much with us.
At this sub-regional meeting, child labor experts from different organizations and countries of ECOWAS critically seek interventions that will address identified core causes such as poverty, access to quality education, socio-economic stability, and weak enforcement of labor laws.
We know that the work that we are doing has to speak to the national framework, and the national framework are also meant to deliver on the aspiration and the inspiration of the conventions that many of our countries have ratified. The second one is around enhancing monitoring and evaluation, and therefore collecting data is important so that we are able to say this is where we are before and this is where we are now and this is where we are going as far as the the future is concerned. We know that we need to address the root causes of child labor, and at the core of the root causes is poverty.
Furthermore, it is crucial to establish mechanisms to hold stakeholders accountable for non-compliance or lack of progress.
Nigeria has ratified International Labour Organization Convention 138 on the minimum age for entry into work or employment, and Convention 182 on the worst form of child labor. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
And that concludes the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis at Degunloye.